We take you now back to D.C. Among other comments, Fed Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said temporary fiscal stimulus would help the central bank to buttress economic growth. He also warned against the worsening longer-term outlook for budget deficits. So for reaction on his comments and others, we are joined right now by Representative Scott Garrett from New Jersey. Representative Garrett is a Republican on the House Financial Services Committee. Welcome, Congressman. We're glad to have you.
And it's good to be with you on this snowy day in Washington.
It does look pretty there, although probably not so nice to walk. But what do you think of Bernanke's suggestion of fiscal stimulus, and along with the implication that there's more monetary stimulus to come?
Well, it's encouraging to see what he has already done and what is still in his bag of tricks, if you will, or bag of powers in order to do the monetary side. He is looking to us to see as far as the fiscal side of the equation. And, you know, the question is, will Congress act? Well, anytime there's a front page story repeatedly, you're sure that Congress is going to be getting into the act. The question really is, though, is what we're going to do would be create more harm than good after all is spelled out and done.
And, of course, reaching consensus.
Well, you need to reach consensus to get there, but then the final product, with or without Republican support, will it help the economy or will it hurt the economy? And I got to tell you, what I've been hearing from the other side of the aisle reminds me a lot of what we had back in the 70s, and that produced stagflation. You had a tight fiscal policy, which means they were talking about raising taxes, and then they just wanted to spend more. So it's a tax and spend philosophy, and that can't be good for the economy.
Now, you have a plan, a taxpayer-friendly plan. You call this the Middle Class Jobs Protection Act. How do you think this is going to help the average person?
Well, when you think about it, what does the average middle-class American want? He wants to make sure that he's able to support himself. He needs a job in order to do that. He needs that security. So the best thing we can really do is to make sure that the job creation situation in this country is improved. What we don't need to do is simply hand out $200 checks to everybody, because that's not going to improve the economy substantially. But if we can make sure the jobs are there. So how do you do that? Well, first and foremost, we lower the corporate tax rates. You know, as you know, the United States has one of the second highest corporate tax rate in the world. That's why so many jobs are going overseas, because of the tax rates. Secondly, we allow for greater deductibility and expensing for 08 and 09. The idea is to encourage businesses to get off the sidelines as far as holding their money and investing, and invest back in their businesses and create jobs.
But we have to say that actually we are just beginning to see businesses slow down spending now. I mean, up until this point, this has actually been a pretty strong part of the economy, business investment.
And that's an excellent point. And I think one of your previous comments on here was that when Ben Bernanke speaks, sometimes there's jitters in the marketplace. Well, that's because all the news so far has just been on the one side. That's the housing market, and that's how bad that is. But we're forgetting about that this is just a piece of the entire economic package, that the numbers up until this point have been really strong. The unemployment numbers have been at historic low levels. Now we see a blip up. The GDP, still, you saw a 4% rating for the year over last in the last quarter. As you point out, business investment, I think it was up 5% over the year forward in the last quarter as well. So all the other economic indicators are still strong indicators. What we want to do is make sure that we can just keep those numbers up and not be depressed just by the mentality that's out there.
Now, with all due respect, I mean, we've seen federal taxes been cut since 2001. I mean, spending, at least monetary policy, has really soared under Bush. We know that the budget is far from being balanced. The Fed has already cut rates, some argue with limited effect. So, I mean, just how many more rabbits can be pulled out of a hat? And with regards to your plan, I mean, it can't be just a golden rabbit.
Well, it's certainly better than what we're hearing from the other side. And to go back to your point as far as the deficit, of course, the revenue has, since the 03 tax cuts, have been increasing steadily each year at double-digit rates. So the money pouring into Washington has been phenomenal, and that because of that, we have seen the deficit each year going down and down and down, and is prone to go off the table entirely under the Bush plan. What we do not want to do is to get rid of those tax cuts, which is what the other side of the aisle wants to do. And the reason is, again, we want to give security and confidence back to the marketplace. So many people in the marketplace right now are sitting back because they're not secure. They know that Charlie Rangel from New York, chairman of Ways and Means, he came out last month with his mother of all tax increases, wants to repeal all that. So investors don't want to invest if they don't know that these tax cuts that were in place are going to disappear after they make their investment. Okay,
Congressman Garrett, I mean, what's the timing then of the right plan, whatever form that takes? I mean, when is timing best?
Well, the timing, according to Ben Bernanke, is as soon as possible. Someone asked that sometime during this year, April, May, or June would have a positive effect. You start getting in later on into the year, September, October, November, and it'll have a de minimis impact upon the economy. Because after that, as you know from the housing numbers, you've already reached the peak on the resets on the subprime market, whether that's in March or in September. You'll have reached the peak, and you'll be coming out of the doldrums that we're in anyway.
Well, then we know we're going to shift gears here a little bit. New Jersey primary, of course, February 5th, the Super Tuesday. Who are you going to endorse?
Well, I have not made an official endorsement right now. What I'm looking at as the candidates who are addressing some of the issues that we're talking right now are basic fiscal policies and how to reduce spending.
Who is most in line with your thoughts?
Yeah. I have not made any endorsement. I just say that what we really have to do is get back to basic constitutional principles and to say what is the role of the federal government. And we have expanded in so many different areas that we should not be in right now, and it's that reason that we're spending out of control. The Republicans were not right on that mark in the past. The Democrats came in on a platform that they were going to do a better job. They have done even worse. The next Republican president hopefully will stick to true constitutional principles, restrain our spending, and that will overall hit the fiscal policy for this country.
All right. We thank you very much, Representative Scott Garrett there from New Jersey.
Appreciate the time.